Good morning, everyone. Let's stand and join our voices to sing our welcoming song, My Soul is Welcome Here.
I'm in the right place at the right time. I am just where I'm supposed to be. I'm in the right place at the right time. I am just where I'm supposed to be. I'm in the right place at the right time. I am just where I'm supposed to be. I'm in the right place at the right time. I am just where I'm supposed to be. Oh, my soul is welcome here. Oh, my soul is welcome here. I am getting the message loud and clear. My soul is welcome here. I'm in the right place at the right time. I am just what I'm supposed to be. I'm in the right place at the right time. I am just what I'm supposed to be. Oh, my soul is welcome here. Oh, my soul is welcome here. I am getting the message loud and clear. My soul is welcome here. Oh, my soul is welcome here. Oh, my soul is welcome here. I am getting the message loud and clear. My soul is welcome here. I am getting the message loud and clear. My soul is welcome here.
Let's take a couple of minutes and greet each other, but when you hear the music, please go back to your seats and sing the next song. Thank you. Glad you're here.
Myself the way I am. There's nothing I need to change. I'll always be the perfect me. There's nothing to rearrange. I'm beautiful. I'm capable of being the best me I can. And I love myself just the way I am. Just the way you are. There's nothing you need to do. When I feel the love inside myself, it's easy to love you. Behind your fears, your rage of tears, I see a shining star. And I love you just the way you are. I love the world the way
good song. Welcome to Unity Bloomington. This is a special place. It's a special day. Special being together like this. So our new mission and vision statement is up on the screen here. Let's declare it together. We are Unity of Bloomington, a heart-centered community seeking spiritual awakening and transformation by deepening connections with God, self, and others. We are a community. And we declare our identity as a unity community. So we have an affirmation that's traditionally been called the Great Invocation in Unity. It had been used to start classes and workshops and Sunday services throughout its history. It's a declaration that right here and right now we are in the presence of pure being, that all around us is the presence of God, and all within us is the presence of God. Let's declare this together. I am now in the presence of pure being and immersed in the Holy Spirit, life, love, and wisdom. Just take a moment and feel that immersion. Feel that presence. Pure being. The purity of divine life, perfect love, clear light. Here with us, within us. And in that awareness, we are grateful, we are expectant, and we are at peace. So it is. Amen. This is a holiday weekend, not one that is usually celebrated here, but it is celebrated in different places in the world. It's been celebrated for thousands of years. Should have a picture of a groundhog up here, because Groundhog Day is the little acknowledgement that we are as traditionally given to this cross-quarter day. It's a day that's halfway between the equinox and the solstice. It's a traditional feast day. It's a traditional holiday. In Ireland, it's called Imbolk. It's a celebration of the goddess Bridget. And she has been Christianized into Saint Bridget. She represents the fire in the belly, the fire from deep in the earth that comes up in the beginning of spring. So this is a celebration of the beginning of the end of winter, the beginning of spring, the affirmation of the emergence of life. It's a celebration of light. Lupercalia is what it was called when the Romans celebrated it. They got that festival from the Greeks, who, for some reason, their festival at this time of year was associated with wolves. So, interesting. The Catholics Christianized it and called it Candlemas. It's a festival of light, lighting candles. Now, it's supposedly the time when Mary, Virgin Mary, was allowed to come back to the temple. And so, different places, there's a celebration of Mary at Candlemas. We celebrate it by groundhogs, okay, woodchucks, You know, groundhog's kind of like a squirrel that lives in the ground. It doesn't chuck wood. The Delaware people, the Native Americans, the Delaware Nation, had a story about the emergence of humanity, that humans came up out of the earth, that we were born of the earth, in the earth, emerged from the earth and came out into the light. And they had an animal that they celebrated as representing that. It was kind of made a big deal out of it, this groundhog. And the English settlers that came there asked him, "What do you call this animal?" "Woodchuck." "What?" "Woodchuck." He says, "Woodchuck." "Woodchuck." Oh. So the word woodchuck came from a mispronunciation of the name of the sacred animal from the Delaware Nation's language. We have all kinds of stories that come up. There are supposedly weather predicting woodchucks all across the country. It came from German, so anywhere there were German immigrants, there are different woodchucks that look to see if they can see their shadow, to predict whether or not there's going to be 6 more weeks of winter. Well, there's going to be 6 more weeks of winter because we're only halfway through it. But the shadow thing, see, it's about the light. The woodchuck comes up into the light. This is a festival, a celebration of light. And in the light, shadow is visible. In a bright light, if it's a day like today, what's overcast, you can't see your shadow very well, but in a bright light, there's a very clear shadow, and if the groundhog sees its shadow, it is disturbed by that. It is frightened by its shadow and goes back underground to hide for another 6 weeks. Shadow is a psychological term about things that we don't want to look at, things that we would like to avoid, things about us that we don't want anyone else to see either, that we cover over with a facade of niceness and all is well. It's what we avoid, what we pretend isn't there, what we cover up and resist. So it's usually things like fear and rage and what was the line in the song? "Behind your fear, your rage, your tears, I see your shining star." Fear, rage, tears, sadness, anger, anxiety. It's like we're supposed to, they're uncomfortable. Would rather not feel those things, but in the process of not feeling them, of pretending they're not there or hiding them, that takes some energy. And that energy interferes with our ability to be whole, well, functional people. It distracts us. It disconnects us from the depths within us, and the depths within us have the things that we bury and hide there, but the depths within us also have tremendous spiritual resources. And so it's good to dive deep, to deal with what we find there, to be able to feel what we have there and use what's available there. So I'll tell you a couple stories about going deep. One of them is about a priest and an imam and a minister that died and found themselves surrounded by fire brimstone, sulfur, stink. We're in hell. We don't believe in hell, in unity, but we do believe that some people that have issues in their lives that are less than whole, that are selfish, that are disconnecting, that are evil, that the fire of divine love is going to make them uncomfortable because selfishness and hatred and prejudice are burned up by the purifying fires of divine love. So just let me say that. Hell is a place where the purifying fires of divine love reduce the things that would separate us from each other. Anyway, a priest and an imam and a minister are standing in fire. They say, we're in hell. What the hell am I doing here? The Muslim imam falls on his knees. He says, inshallah, inshallah. Fire all around him. He says, I see that all that I was talking about jihad, about defeating the infidel, killing the infidel, was a mistake. It should have been about looking for the infidel within me. The fire decreases, and there was a glow around him. And the priest looked at him and was like, oh, thank you. That helped me to see that there's things within me I wasn't dealing with. I thought that I could deal with these urges and impulses that I have by taking vows of celibacy, and they were coming out in all sorts of inappropriate ways. Thank you. Oh, please, God, forgive me. And the fires diminished, and there was a glow about him. And they turned to the minister who was standing there, a unity minister. What about you, Reverend? Why are you here? I'm not here. It's not hot. I'm not here. It's not hot. I'm not here. It's not hot. Just be positive. Everything's all right. It's called spiritual bypassing. Using spiritual principles to cover up what's going on, to distract ourselves from the truth. It's tempting to do that. There's a lot of pain in life. A lot of things come up that are difficult. Resentment, sadness and loss, shame, guilt. Things that don't seem fair, things that are mysterious. We're here to deal with them. We're here to bring the presence of God to whatever's going on in the world and to make a difference in the world. We're here to manifest the gifts of God within us. There's an old story in the Hebrew Testament in 1 Kings 19 about the prophet Elijah. Lots of stories about Elijah performing miracles. He was in a competition with some of the local shamans, and he really defeated them, and they were really upset about that, so they went to their ruler, who was named Jezebel, and said, you got to get rid of this guy. So she issued a death sentence on Elijah, and he left town. He was running. He was hiding. He ran off into the mountains and found a cave and went down into that cave and was hiding. He was afraid. And in that cave, he heard a voice. It wasn't the still, small voice of God. It was a loud voice. It said, "Hey, Elijah, what are you doing in that cave?" And he said, "Oh, they're trying to kill me. I've been faithful to you." And then he goes on and on. And the voice says, "Come out of that cave." What? Come out of that cave. So he steps out of the cave, expecting the presence of God to bless him. Steps out of the cave and there's an earthquake. Rocks falling all over the cave. After the earthquake, there was a tornado, wind blowing everything around, destroying everything. After that, a wildfire. Welcome to the world. Welcome to the reality of life on earth. Earthquake, impermanence, is the main teaching of Buddhism. You can't count on anything being solid. Oh, the wind, the force of spirit changes things. The fire of the energy of spirit transforms things. He stayed there. He stood there in the earthquake, in the fire, in the wind. And after that, the still, small voice. We've probably heard that term. The still, small voice of God said, "Okay, Elijah, this is what I need you to do." And he got a real clear sense of direction, of purpose. He got a sense of courage and strength to stand in the light, to be the light. You know, when I first started going to Unity, I thought that Elijah, I had this story wrong. You know, I came to Unity as a yogi, and I was really into meditation, you know. And I thought that Elijah heard the still, small voice of God while he was in the cave. Because that's kind of the Eastern meditative tradition, to withdraw from the world and to then connect with the spiritual reality that is separate from the world. Well, in the Judeo-Christian tradition, the spiritual reality is coming into the world to make a difference. It takes some courage to do that. It takes some courage to come out of the cave, to notice what shows up in the light, to be honest. You think of a situation where you've had to find the courage to be honest, to stay conscious, to stay present to what's going on. Luke Salmon's going to share something from his experience about that. Come on. You can use that mic up there, okay?
Thank you, Reverend Nat. Just thinking about, when we're talking about, stepping out of the shadows, kind of stepping into the light. I think about how different my life was 10 years ago. Back in 2013, my life was kind of swirling out of control. And, in the course of a year, I lost I was arrested, I lost my license, I lost my job, and, was really just, not a person that I would be, proud to share. I wouldn't be proud to stand in here in front of you guys. I would think that I had no business talking to a group of people that I, had no worth, and, was trying to numb myself and find ways that I could, hide the things that I was, trying to cover up. On the outside, I wanted to project as cool, and, that I, had lots of friends and I knew what to do. But inside, I was, falling a little bit into a darker place. And, I actually got arrested on my wife's birthday. She wasn't my wife then, but we had gone out and were celebrating and had trying to have a good night and just live free, carefree. And, it wasn't long after that, I found myself sitting in jail. And, whenever I got out, I talked to my dad. We went to a meeting. He was in the program, for 30-some years. And, he said, I was sitting in there and I was looking around. I said, Dad, I don't know. Listening to the people be honest about the things that they had done and the place where they were at. And I was listening to him and I said, Dad, I don't know, necessarily if I am an alcoholic. I don't know that I do have a problem with this. And, he said to me, completely shocked me. He said, son, maybe you're not. He said, but you're not going to know. He said, your rock bottom is different than somebody else's rock bottom. And, there's only one way to find that out, and you're the only one that can find that out. And things were not great. Like I said, I had no job, no license, no, really anything. But somehow I still had my girlfriend at the time, and she stuck by my side. And, what do you know? In April, we find out that we're expecting, and, things are changing. And I was terrified. She was so excited. She's over the moon excited. I was terrified, and I wasn't ready to be a dad. I didn't feel that I had the traits, necessary to be a good father. And, within just a few, short weeks, we find out that we're going to miscarry. And, that shook us to our core. So as we were spiraling down, now she joined the spiral with me. And we were going down into a dark place, and we weren't sure if we were going to make it as a couple or even as individuals at that point. But over the course of that, we went to therapy and couples therapy to try and understand, how to move forward. And I was very confused because I was very supportive of Monica. I was there, in the darkest of times, sitting there while she was, passing a miscarriage, and I was there for her every step of the way, but she still was in a really dark place. And so I said to the therapist that we were seeing at the time, I said, I'm trying to do everything I can. I don't understand. I said, I'm trying to fix this. And she said, let me stop you right there. He said, this is not something that you can fix, Luke. So this is not something that you can fix. She said, this is something that, you're conditioned as a very good, American man, is that, you're taught that you can fix things, and that's what you do as a man. That's what you provide. And you can't fix Monica. Well, we continued on, and slowly, I started becoming honest with myself. That was kind of a shot between that statement from the therapist and the statement from my dad, is that this is, there's something here that you're covering up. There's something here that's not right. And what I started to do is just focus on the little things that I could change. I can stop drinking. I can stop, relying on, substance to numb my feelings. And then in doing that, I realized that I'm not in the best physical shape that I'd like to be. So I started working on myself a little bit. And then the next thing you know, I get offered a job at Cook Pharmaca, it's now Catalent, where I work, and I've been for 10 years. And then in September, I proposed to Monica, and within less than 2 years then from that time, my daughter's born. And it was taking those little steps, and it was being really open and honest with the fact that I was scared of being a father. I was scared of commitment to Monica. I was didn't feel that I was worthy of love and understanding, and by working on myself, I started to find value in myself and started to realize that I could show up authentically for other people, and by doing that, and sharing my my story and being honest about the fact that I was in a bad place and I wasn't proud of the person that I was, that sharing is powerful, and it brings out into the light that this is something that I don't have to be ashamed of. It's part of who I am, and it's part of how I've become the man that I am today. And it's just doing those slow, those little steps that might seem minor at the time, but showing up and being your authentic self. In Unity, we do a lot of talking about the I am, and we talk a lot about the God is, and I think sometimes we glaze over the human experience aspect of it, and we are all spiritual beings. We are having a human experience, and within that, we're going to have some dark points, and we let that divine light shine from within us. I have one quote here that I wanted to read for you guys. Unfortunately, there can be no doubt that man is, on the whole, less good than he imagines himself or wants to be. Everyone carries a shadow, and the less it is embodied in the individual's conscious life, the blacker and denser it is. If an inferiority is conscious, one always has a chance to correct it. Furthermore, it is constantly in contact with other interests, so that it is continually subjected to modifications. But if it is repressed and isolated from consciousness, it never gets corrected. And that's from Jung in Psychology and Religion, 1938. Thank you.
Thank you, Luke. Courage, honesty. Dealing with reality, with the entirety of reality. I'll tell you another story. Myrtle Fillmore healed from tuberculosis. She was quarantined when people were dying all around. And her healing from this deadly disease created all this story and mythology within Unity about healing and affirming the power of divine life. She wasn't just saying, God's life is deep within me. This is one of the Unity songs. She was focusing deep within herself. It said that she prayed, she talked with and addressed every single part of her body, every system. She wasn't ignoring the symptoms. She was going deep into the systems, into the symptoms, taking a consciousness of light into the reality of what's going on. Standing in the fire and wind and earthquake. And being conscious that we have within us the power to manifest the presence of God. So I'm going to invite you to go on a little journey yourself into some darkness within you. When I was a kid, I lived at my grandmother's house, and they had a dark basement, really dark basement. And the light in the basement was at the bottom of the stairs. Well, it was beyond, you had to go down the stairs, and then you had to feel around for the string, and then pull the string and turn on the light. And a lot of times I was sent downstairs to get a jar out of the cold cellar, or to shovel some coal into the furnace. I didn't like going down into the basement. It was scary. It was dark. There were monsters down there, right? Until I turned on the light. Just to make sure there's nothing there. And then I could go back upstairs. I could turn off the light and go upstairs. I went pretty quickly, but it was not like going down there. So I'm going to invite you to do a similar kind of thing. To be the light of God, the light and life and glory of God, that we would take down into an area that may be closed off from the light. Okay? So you might think of something, or just be open to trying this out, being the light in an area that has been shaded for too long. So we're going to sing a little chant about the light, in the love, in the glory of God I am. Light, love, glory. Get a sense of light. That you are in that presence of pure being. We're immersed in the Holy Spirit of light, love, glory. We're here to be the light, to bring the light. So be that light right now. You have practiced that. There's a way that you connect with the light and the love and the life of God. Radiant with spiritual reality. And there's perhaps something in your history and part of your life that is in shadow, that is ready to be brought into the light. So imagine that you turn to the depths within you, to something that has been done or happened that you may have avoided, that may be unresolved. Take the light that you are into that issue, into that event or memory. Courageously enter into acknowledgement that this is the time for healing. This is the time for light in this darkness. Spend some quiet time there. As the light, allow things to emerge into the light in safety, in comfort, in peace, in the silence. We are here to bring light and love and life. It is our light, not our darkness, that frightens us. Our deepest fear is not that we are inadequate. Our deepest fear is that we are powerful beyond measure. It is our light, not our darkness, that frightens us. We ask ourselves, who am I to be brilliant, gorgeous, talented, fabulous? Actually, who are you not to be? You are a child of God. Your playing small does not serve the world. There's nothing enlightened about shrinking so that other people won't feel insecure around you. We were born to make manifest the glory of God that is within us. It's not just some of us. It's in everyone. As we let our own light shine, we give other people permission to do the same. As we are liberated from our own fear, our presence automatically liberates others. Here we are, right where we are, not hiding, not avoiding, not running.
Run away from the sun. Run away from the rain. Hid away from everyone. Run away from the pain. Now I'm so out of breath. Now I'm so scared to death. I'm not running anymore. I'm not hiding anymore. For the first time in my life, I will stand my ground. No more running around. Here I am. Oh, here I am.
No more running around.
What's a life covered up? Day and night not to fail. Like a life without love is its own kind of jail. What a waste to regret what I haven't tried yet. I'm not running anymore. I'm not hiding anymore. For the first time in my life, I will stand my ground with my heart unbound. Here I am. Here I am.
No more running, no more running. Come and get me, come and get me. No more running, no more running around.
Throwing the game just to make sure that I never win. Kept counting myself out again and again. So nervous, running in court, girls, and nobody knew where I'd been. Maybe today is the day that I let it all in. Maybe my secret hurts no original sin. It's time, it's tired up my mind. I'm ready to dive in. I'm not running anymore. I'm not hiding.
here we are. There are things that only we can say. There are things that only we can do. We're here to give of ourselves, our time, our treasure, our talents, to manifest the presence of God in the world. And that flows through us as we open ourselves to give. So we, at this time where we have an opportunity to give to support the work of Unity Bloomington, we bless all of the ways that we give of life and love and light in the world. Let's acknowledge all of that with this declaration of abundance. Together? I am an abundant being, living in an abundant universe. God is the source of my supply. I always have something to give, and I give it. I accept the best. I give my best, and now I attract the best in every experience. So it is. And now we have a little song, an affirmation of gratitude.
God is my source, God is my power, God gives me everything I need. So I give thanks for all my blessings, God gives me everything I need. God is my source, God is my power, God gives me everything I need. So I give thanks for all my blessings, God gives me everything I need. God gives me everything I need. God gives me everything I need.
Yes, he does. She does. Yes, it does. Yes, we do. Some beautiful sharing this morning. Luke, thank you. The music team, thank you. For your being here today. Thank you. Your being here today brought something that blesses all of us. So thank you for being part of this community. Thank you for joining us online. Be happy to have you here in person. We have a number of things going on. We're starting a small group study. Well, actually, we're starting a series on making a change in our lives, consciously choosing what we want to create or what we want to do or what we want to release. And we're going to be using the steps of creation that are in the first chapter of Genesis, the creation story, on the let there be light, expanse, let there be light. So it's based on, we're going to be using the book, The Creative Life by Eric Butterworth. But it's going to be 7 Sunday talks with 7 worksheets, discussion sheets. And the book, The Creative Life by Eric Butterworth, can supplement that. And so it's not a book study as much as it is a support for the creative process. So we have there are 2 groups so far. So we need people to host a group or facilitate a group. So 2 groups have emerged, one on Thursdays at 2 o'clock, one on Sundays at 4 o'clock. The sign-up sheets are out in the lobby there. We may have more next week. We'll have books next week. We'll start this on the 19th. I'm going to introduce it next week. Because next week's going to be about the creative power of love. And that our job here is to create. What's next here? Now, I know you might be thinking, how do I follow Luke after what he did today? You know, what do I have to share? You have had spiritual insights. You've had experiences. You've had principles that came up and woke you up and have oriented you. And we all have a sense of knowing Luke a little better now. We want to know about you. We want to get to know you a little better now. And so I'll be publishing the topics of the Sunday talks. If you have something to say about the creative power of love, a reading that has touched you, or a little story that you might share in 3 minutes or so, 3-4 minutes, let me know. You can do that next week. Or I'll be publishing the topics of the upcoming services. And if you see something about understanding or imagination or cooperation or rest that comes up, let me know. We want to work that into the service. Next. Yep. Annual meeting today. So there's snacks back there. We're going to continue in this room. It's important. Important for participation to be part of the community. So please join us with that. Is there anything else? Yes. This affirmation. Let's stand for this. Let's stand with a sense of power and declare this for all of the creation. Together, the light of God surrounds us. The love of God enfolds us. The power of God protects us. The presence of God watches over us. Wherever we are, God is, and all is well. Join hands in the peace song. Thank you.
We want to start the meeting by noon, if at all possible. The other thing, if you have not signed in when you came in for the meeting or for the service,
We need you to sign in as a member or non-member before the meeting starts. We want to start by noon. Thank you.